Hello everyone, this is part 22 of my Hocus Pocus dollhouse videos. Today I am going to start with this piece of furniture that is back here. Now at some point I'll try to post this to the screen too, but now this is like one of probably my favorite piece of furniture in their house, and it almost looks black. It's a really dark color, and you can sort of see that it's like a little table. And let me see here real quick. I'm gonna point at it with my pencil. So it's like this little table, and there's like 6 legs, I believe. Now it ain't showing the whole thing, like it's a longer table. You don't see this end out here, but these are in the center of it. There's 2 in the middle, and of course 2 on each end, and then there's a little shelf down here at the bottom, and then this is like a little table. It looks like there might be some drawers in this area. Mine probably won't have drawers, but I'm gonna make it look like it has drawers. And then up here on top you've got 1, 2, 3 shelves. Well, actually 4 if you count the top. But so that's what I'm gonna make today. And I've been wanting to make this piece for a long time. That, like I said, it's like my favorite piece of furniture they've got. So I've got, well, let me see. I've got 6 legs cut out, little wood legs. And then I've got the top. I've got that little shelf for the bottom. This will be the back of it. Now this may not make sense until I start to actually put this together. I've got all these little pieces to create the shelf piece at the back. So let me get a little bit of this put together better, and then I'll put them side by side and kind of show it again. Yeah, so let me get some of this together, and then I'll get it showing you better. It'll make more sense when you can see it. I've got these legs glued on, so that is the basic shape of the table. Now, like I was showing you earlier, there's a shelf at the bottom. So I've cut another piece that is that same size, and I've kind of pressed these little pieces. Well, actually, I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to, let me see. I've pressed these legs down, but I've actually just done the 4 corners. If you can sort of see where I've pressed those legs in, because where I've put those little indentions, I'm going to cut those little corners out, and then it's just going to wedge in between there. But I actually need to do these in the middle, so I need to make sure I get them in the perfect spot. So let me do that real quick. And I just want these to line up correctly, and I just want to make sure I get them spaced apart right. I'm just going to eyeball it. Alright, I've got those done. Oh yeah, and when I say alright, you know, I noticed I start a video clip and I come back and I say alright. I say alright so many times I'm kind of driving myself crazy doing that. So other than those 2 times, I'm going to try not to say that anymore. But I'm down to say alright, but I'm just gonna sit here, cut these little corners out where I've pressed those legs down. Hopefully that will fit down in here. Cool, now see how that went down in there? So just glue that in place. Anyways, that's my little table. Now, before I do the top, I'm gonna show you, let me find my phone here. There's like this little decorative, there's gonna have to be a piece down here. There's gonna be drawers here. And I want this and there's like this little scalloped edge right in this area at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I've measured this out. Like I think I've got it measured out correctly. The size of this rectangle. I've drew that out here. What I'm going to do is just draw this on down here. I'm basically just going to draw a picture of this, cut that out, and glue that to the front of my table, and that will give me that look of how that looks. Now if that don't make sense, it probably will when you actually see me cut this out, and then just glue it to the front. And then the drawers will cut out individual little rectangles and glue on there to look like drawers, and then we'll use something for like a little pull, like a little handle. Then I went ahead and started putting this back piece together that's going to sit up on the top like this. So that's basically our little table, and that's just that foam board, just made like a little piece. And then I've cut some other little pieces out, make the, well, I gotta cut them a little shorter, but that'll, I think it's got, let me pull the picture up, I think it's got 2 shelves in there. Yes, so there's 2 shelves. I'll have to use 2 of those. Oh, I think I know where I was when I left off. I was going to take this piece of cardboard, draw that piece out, and then which I did. I got that drawn out. It ain't exactly the shape, but I made it similar. And it's a little long, so I'm just going to trim that off. That looks pretty cool. I like how that looks. Let's see if that picture sort of shows up. When it's painted, it's going to look really cool, I think. I can't wait to start painting it. But now what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and glue this back. Well, no, wait, let me see. I'm going to do these little side pieces, which just needs to be a little piece cut out here. That piece of cardboard is just happens to be as wide as I need it. So I'm just going to continue this little shape. And I'm just, yeah, I mean, just as simple as that, just make it up as I go. I might bring that down more. And if I want a nice round piece, I could like put that plate right here. That's that little plate. And then just trace it like this and get a much prettier line. So I'll do that to both sides and just glue those on. There's how those look. See, my head's making a shadow. I keep trying to lean over, but there's how that looks now that I've got the side pieces on. And all I'm going to do to make this look like it's got drawers is just cut out some little rectangles of this cardboard. Now this is like I guess this is sort of like the cardboard on a cereal box. That's not what this is, but it's about that thickness, maybe a little bit thicker actually. But I'm just going to do this real simple. Let me look how many drawers. I think there's like 3 drawers. So I want to, I don't care if they're the same. Now like the 2 on the ends, I want those to be match. But I don't really care about the one in the middle being a little different. Dang, I need some better scissors. These things hardly cut anything. But I'm just going to lay that there. Let me see. Yeah, that shows up. See, I'm just going to lay that little cardboard there, and that'll look like the little drawer. And I could even double it up, like make it a little bit thicker to really stand out. But I don't know. I think one's plenty. And then I need, let me get some better scissors. Those don't cut too good. And I'm not even like making this perfect. I mean, I'm just cutting this. You see how I'm doing it. But I think that looks awesome. Now I'll glue those in place. And I'm not sure what I'm going to use for a handle. Now I can't actually see a handle on there, but there's these little gold circles. I guess they're gold. There's one here. They're just kind of all over the place. So I'm going to actually use my hole punch and punch out some poster board to make these circles and put them on here, kind of like I did that other little shelf that I've made. So I will cut those out of poster board and glue those down just like I did these little drawers. And I'll just cut out all these little shapes and glue them down. And probably for the handles I will use like a tiny little bead or something, like a tiny little button or a bead. So I'll go look at all my little tiny things and see what I can come up with for handles. And I have something perfect, so I'll drag this stuff out and we'll check out what we could use for that. But I just thought of something that I had, so let me go grab all that. Okay, so I have gone and I've got these little things here, but it's something that I found actually in the floor someplace, and I found two of these, whatever they are, and I just think it would look really good as some kind of a drawer pull, some sort of a handle. And what's on the original, like in the picture, it doesn't look like anything is on this drawer. Well, even in this one the lighting's different, the color's different. It still just doesn't look like anything's there. I may not actually put a drawer pull on it. I will put these little gold circles on it, but I don't guess I will even put any kind of a pull on it since it doesn't show anything. And these little hole punched circles, I may even paint this before I apply those. I think I'll paint this, since they're gold, it would probably be easier to paint that gold and then glue it on, and that way I can just paint this whole thing black and brown and age it and stuff, and then put those little gold pieces on it. So I think that's all I'm going to do to this, other than, of course, I've got to glue this part down. And I'm also going to put those pins. I've showed this a lot, but you know, people may not watch every video, so I'm going to push these little stick pins through there after I glue it, so that it'll just help hold that in there. So that's what I've come up with. It's not really sitting too level on this table because the table is not perfect, but that is that piece of furniture, and I think it's going to look way better once I get it painted. And I probably won't show that part. I'm just going to paint it brown, like a really dark brown, and then dry brush it with some black and age it, and then I'll come back after it's painted and dry and show you how I distress it and do things to it. Before I do go paint that, I wanted to show it real good, you know, before it's painted. I just got it all glued together, and I used tacky glue for most of it. And then back here you can see I've used some of those little stick pins to go up through there, to go through this back, just to hold it together good. Okay, so here it is. I've got it painted, and obviously I had to get it, I had to touch it, and it's still, like I said, not dry all the way. My little gold circles here, I need to pick these off. I learned to lay everything on wax paper because nothing sticks to that wax paper. So I've just got to put these little gold decorations on it like that. And after I get these glued down and let them dry just a little bit, I'm going to go over it even more with one last, like a black wash color. But right now it's real glossy back in the corners. It's still real wet. I mean, the glue ain't even dry. And I really need to be patient and just let this sit here for a couple hours to dry good. And I'm just getting excited and wanting to get it finished. But I'm going to have to be patient and let this dry because I'm driving myself crazy with it. And then I'll put these little gold pieces on it, and then I'll do the little black wash and get it put in place. But also I've got some little things already that we can sit on it, so I'll show you those later and we can work on those. Okay, so here is my little shelf. I've got it done. I've got those little gold specks on there. Now again, this is not exactly like the real thing. These two little circles, this one and this one, should have been a little bit smaller than these other three. But, you know, again, I'm just doing it something similar, not trying to be perfect or exact. I put one over on the side. And I've put a little candle up here because I noticed there's a candle sitting up here in the movie. I think it's sitting on like a little stand, but I just sat this one directly on it. So to finish this up, I did go over it with the black wash to make it even darker, and just to also go over these little gold pieces. But what I've really liked doing is using my little chalk things. It don't say it's chalk, but I still call it chalk because it's the same exact texture as a chalk. So just to highlight this, I'm just going to rub some of these over it, and that'll really bring out the detail. And I don't want really that much on it because that just looks kind of weird, but I'll just take a dry brush and dry brush it. And that really makes it look better. I like how that looks, and it will build up, its actual dust in time and stuff. And that just sort of makes some of those details pop. I like doing that, but I'll finish this. I could even use the white and hit the edges a little bit. And if I get too much, I can just take my finger and brush it away a little. But you can sort of see how that makes the details pop. And let me see what else. Oh yeah, and the other thing that I'd got over the weekend were these little glass bottles. I got some more of these. These are different shapes than what I had before. So I just knew that I would need to be filling up these shelves. And that cork's a little too tall right now to sit that in there. But of course I always chop the top of that cork off anyway. So when I do that, I'll be able to slide some of these little bottles up in here. And I just want to fill them up first. So I've already got some of them filled. I've got something in this. This is some of the little berries off of that vine that I put on the side of the house last week. This is just little snippets that I clipped off of that vine. And this one's just got some coffee in it. I just put regular dry coffee in that one. This looks like dirt. You know, if you ever need to do something with dirt, like in little tiny flower pots, I think coffee is like the perfect thing for that. Tea or coffee. And then some of these bottles are almost the shape of the life potion bottle. Is that the potion in the movie, the life potion? The green that they try to make the kids drink. Well, I filled some of these up with a green potion, and all this green potion is green fingernail polish. So that just works really good. Because if I was just to put green paint down in there, that paint will dry out and get cracks. But I've just discovered that fingernail polish will stay in there longer and it won't get cracks in it. It might over time, but it might take it a long time to do that. And if you put a lot in there, it won't be real noticeable. Because I've used fingernail polish before, and so I'll just fix up some of these little bottles, and when I place this in the house later, you'll see how that looks with some of these bottles. Now I'm going to make a chair, and I'm going to make it kind of like I did that piece of furniture. I'm just going to start with some wooden legs. This will be the seat of it, and I've done the same thing by pressing these little legs in here on the corners just to put a little indentation there, and then I'll take and cut those corners out so that will fit right up into the chair like this. So I've got this measured out. This is going to be the seat part. I've measured it out kind of the size of this chair. It's going to be just a little bit bigger than this one. So I've doing all my measurements from this one chair. So I've got those parts glued together now, and it's really delicate because it's still, the glue's still wet. But there's my little chair. I've got those little notches cut out, and those just fit. Those little wood pieces fit right in those corners, and then I've just cut a little piece and made this back. And then I've got these little squares, just a little square of foam board cut and put right here. Now it doesn't really need that, and I just did it just to make this next part stronger, because I've just cut a little strip of the foam board, and I'm just going to lay that across there for the arm. And it doesn't really have to have that. I mean, I just need to glue the arm to this back part, but I just put that piece of foam board in under there just to help support it. And I probably will cut a piece of that little thin cardboard to lay on top of the foam board just to strengthen it up, because that little foam board, if you're not careful, it could just snap. I mean, as thin, or as small of a piece as that is, it could just, you know, karate chop it, just break it too easy. So I'm going to put a little piece of cardboard there over top of that just to strengthen it up. This is my little lead pencil, mechanical pencil. I'm going to push the lead in so the lead's not sticking out, and I'm just going to go in here and press some sort of a little detail in here. Just draw on some sort of a decoration. Now I'm going to try to look at the picture of the chair that's actually in the movie. For today, this and that shelf is all I'm going to make, and I am going to try to paint the front door. Paint it its final coat, and then there's some decorative details on that I'm going to try to finish up today also. So I'll finish this real quick and then start working on the door. Okay, so here is the little chair that I did. You know, I did go in there with that cardboard just to keep that from breaking. I put those little side rail pieces on here just to help support the legs, and then I just carved a random little design in the back. It's actually got a little face in there, and I added this, it was straight across the top, and I added an extra piece up here, but you can see that better on the back. I just didn't like it being flat across the back or the top, so I just wanted to add an extra little piece. And the shape isn't like perfect, it's kind of crude, but that just adds to the, you know, the handmade look of it. And all these little details will pop out more. This is going to be the little chair that like Danny sat in. Now of course you don't see it real good in the movie, you can't really see all the detail, so I just made up this little design. I mean, I thought it was kind of cute, so I'll just get that painted up, and I think that's the last big thing for today. Now the other thing I was going to do was paint the door. Okay, so I've got my little piece of furniture made here, and I've got my little chair finished up. I got that painted, and I'll show these a little bit better in the pictures at the end. One thing I want to mention, someone made a comment that I should age some of these things a little bit more, and I agree. And I think in my last video I did mention that I will age things a little bit better, especially the cauldron. It don't have any kind of age on it, so I definitely need to hit that if I decide to keep this one. I still ain't sure I want this one. I may try to make a new one. And especially these chains. Now I have painted those and I had them aged pretty good, but the paint flakes off and you can still see that gold chain, and that won't rust. If it would rust, I would rust it, but I actually want to replace every chain in here with a metal chain that will rust, because I've rusted things before. I've got these safety pins in here that I've rusted, and if you ever need to rust metal, you just soak it in bleach, vinegar, and salt, and it happens pretty quick. You just soak them in there and you can actually sit there a couple minutes and actually watch it happen. And it doesn't take it like days or weeks to do it. And a lot of times I'll leave stuff sitting in that mixture for about overnight at least, depending on how rusty I want it. So anyway, I do want to replace the chains and rust them. And I've even got this little rope. This will kind of wrap around that little chair, because that's supposed to be that little chair that they had Danny tied in. And then I can sit her little pumpkin bucket in there, because I know it was seen a lot when they were in the house. So we'll look at this a little bit better in pictures, and then right now I'll move over to the other side and talk about that a little bit more. Now on this side, the door was like a chocolate brown color, and I noticed in the movie it's a much lighter color, so I changed the color on this, and you can't really see them right here in the video, but I've done these little swirl decorations on the door. I've added these little black metal pieces here and a little piece here, and I thought I would use them as a hinge, but it actually worked perfect for this little piece of metal here, and it just really kind of looks like what was actually on the door, sorta. So I might even use this other one on the back door as sort of the same thing, but on the back one. So that was a good use for those, and I just really like the color much better. It's a much brighter color. It's not like a brown like I had it before. And I did paint the little hinges and stuff. I didn't even have those hinges painted the last time. And then over here on this little shelf that I had made, I've put some of those little bottles. That little bottle there is one of the new ones. And I just ripped up these little yellowed papers and wrapped them around to make them look like little scrolls. And in the supplies, my little miniatures that I was going to have for Dorothy's house, I had a bunch of little books, and then I thought Dorothy don't need that many books, so I pulled a lot of those and put them in here in the Sanderson sister house. Oh yes, and again, someone made the comment that my beds were a little too light and needed to be aged up, and I actually agree again with that. I mean, from the day I made those, I knew they weren't as dark and grungy as they should be, but I had this weird way of thinking, like I wanted the beds to look new, like maybe they had just got the beds. But then I was thinking, if I'm going to make something look new, do I want the whole house to look like the day it was built, or do I want it to look hundreds of years later? I mean, I can't really do both. If it's going to look old, it all needs to look old. So I probably will. go and darken these beds a little bit, because that was something that I was also thinking, and then I've seen people comment on that. So yeah, I'll probably darken them, but I'll just do that sometime later on. And then the next big thing will be making the dolls theirself.